that he thought they didn't have proper brain processing power, that is offensive. And so some of us can feel a way, but still respect.
What you call them, ignorant, uneducated.
These are people's opinions. This is free speech.
Okay, but it can't be true.
Can they not be true to them? To them. What is your truth about Charlie Kirk? What do you mean that we're using his name to blame Van? What do you mean by that? I don't get that.
People were saying that Charlie Kirk, you know, because Charlie Kirk had been assassinated.
Why can't you vote for it? It's a resolution. It's not a law. We're not changing the Constitution. We're just saying that's what we should do. I mean, the partisanship is crazy.
Here we are, just a few.
Charlie Kirk, uneducated. Yes, he didn't graduate college, but he's a pretty learned man from all the educational things I heard him say.
This is different. This is a person who was assassinated. And to come up there and say, you know what, he was ignorant and didn't know.
Hello, everybody. Guys, we got the Hispanic Vince McMahon and evil Mr. Clean today. I warn you, this segment is going to piss you off. Again, let's get right into it, and we'll talk about it.
Bird by the Archbishop of New York as a modern-day saint.
The more I learned about him, I thought, this guy's a modern-day St. Paul. He was a missionary. He's an evangelist. He's a hero. He's one, I think, that knew what Jesus meant when he said, the truth will set you free.
The tune was a bit different over on Capitol Hill, however. Today, as the House overwhelmingly passed a resolution honoring Kirk and praising his life and legacy, nearly 60 Democrats voted against it.
We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant. And accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
Really quick, guys. Democrats pissed me off so much. Only 60 of them voted against this. Such cowards sometimes. And when it comes to that cardinal, what would your God think about what Charlie Kirk said about some of God's children, his own children? How he spoke about Black people? What do you think he would think about that?
Another 38 Democrats voted present on that resolution, and 22 didn't vote at all. One of the big problems for Democrats with the resolution was that it wasn't just one that memorialized him after he was killed in such a horrible fashion, but it also said that he was a courageous patriot. He boldly lived out his faith with conviction, courage, and compassion, and is a model for young Americans across the political spectrum. That is what was the bridge too far.
Do you think that in this instance, when we talk about Charlie Kirk, I feel like so many of us are lacking nuance? Can 3 things be true? Can 2 things be true? Can what the Cardinal said be true and what AOC said be true also? Like, can they not exist?
I don't think, no, I don't.
And why can't they? And why can't they coexist?
I don't think St. Paul and being an evangelist and then being, what you call them, ignorant, uneducated.
These are people's opinions.
Okay, but it can't be true.
Can they not be true to them? To them.
Now you're saying,
what is your truth about Charlie Kirk? What is your truth?
Look, I am not a Charlie Kirk expert. The same way that if you...
No one is.
If you listen...
No one is.
Hold on, go ahead, Arthur.
If you listen to the Cardinal Dolan said, I never heard of Charlie Kirk until the homicide, until the execution, but I've studied him now, all these clips of him, and then he came to that conclusion. So he wasn't like a Charlie Kirk guy. But I don't think you could call Charlie Kirk uneducated. Yes, he didn't graduate college, but he's a pretty learned man from all the educational things I heard him say.
Are you educated? You're struggling there.
I also don't think he's an ignorant man. He may have opinions that you don't agree with, but that's because he formed opinions, not because he didn't know what he was saying.
Opinions can be uneducated also.
But I know, but I don't think it applies to him.
Is it fair?
Wow, really? It doesn't apply to him? So do you agree with it, pendejo? AOC said he made uneducated statements, which She, by saying that, was being extremely charitable. I won't be so charitable. Also, by definition, at least in my view, if you are a bigot or a racist, you are uneducated. I can get into a whole hour discussion about that. He was spreading racism and bigotry. It's the #1 thing he peddled. To try and act like he never said these things, it's a joke. Like he was a man spreading kindness and love. Cut the shit. Like what? Are we all crazy? Are we all seeing things that aren't there? He spread hate because it got him attention to millions of people, especially college kids. It got him attention, fame, and wealth. To act like that's not how he literally rose to that stature amongst conservatives is just an effing joke. It's nonsense.
Fair for Democrats and for AOC to say, you know, we mourn his death. We think it's a horrible thing that's happened, but we don't want to endorse his views. Is that a fair thing to say?
I think it's fair. I mean, she's being very honest. But I've seen resolutions in houses and in Congress come out, and you might want to pull. This is different. This is a person who was assassinated. And to come up there and say, you know what, he was ignorant and didn't know what I mean, that's fine. She's got the right. That's her First Amendment right to say that. However, I think it's distasteful, to be honest with you, during this time. But to see AOC and to see Cardinal Dolan, I mean, obviously there is a night and day separation of what they both said. But that's where America's at. That's where America's at. We're so divided. But I like the words.
I want to read some of the things that was in the resolution. In the strongest possible terms, we condemn the assassination. That it's steadfast dedication to he had steadfast dedication to the Constitution, civil discourse, biblical truth, inspired a generation to cherish and defend the blessings of liberty, and ask Americans to reject political violence, recommit to respectful debate, uphold American values, and respect one another as fellow Americans. Why can't you vote for it? It's a resolution. It's not a law. We're not changing the Constitution. We're just saying that's what we should do. I mean, the partisanship is crazy.
Because it's a lie. He didn't respect his fellow man. Hispanic Vince McMahon said what AOC did was distasteful. Yes, to you and Republicans. Right? To us, it was very tasteful. Delicious. Like Dora the Explorer would say, delicioso. You understand as to why? And by the way, all she said was the truth. And that's what you don't like about it. When Trump passes away, do these idiots expect us to be like, he was an honorable man? He was a kind man. A loyal, a great integrity and value man that stood by values. Like, I mean, these people live in La La Land. You guys are such little snowflakes. Don't make fun of my friends. Please stop bringing up how racist and bigoted he was. Please, everyone, stop. For the love of all that is good, please stop. Crybabies, go cry some more. Punk asses. In fact, the more they cry about it, the more I'm going to rip into them. So keep it up.
Just a few days after this atrocious act, which should have brought us together. Because I think what he was doing was admirable, right? He was sitting there inviting debate and being an evangelist for his beliefs, right? Now, I don't think they were the same beliefs as I understand the gospel of Jesus Christ, but that was what he was doing. And he was killed doing it. He was killed because
Is it fair then to debate his beliefs?
Sure.
Of course it is. But this is a resolution today, Abby, that really, it's memorializing. The resolution, it's what we call in politics a district bill where it doesn't, I mean,
no teeth.
Yeah, but
no teeth.
It has no teeth, but again, I think, again, the Democrats, you read part of it, but as I pointed out, a model for young Americans across the political spectrum. That is one of many things that I think they just simply disagree with. They don't think it's true.
Correct.
Let me just play,
You could
because
say
I think
some Americans.
well, actually, no. I'm going to read this because I think this is what AOC said. We have all those clips. If you want to hear them, I can play individual ones. But Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote a piece about this earlier this week about how this was kind of going down in our discourse. And he said, Kirk was a master of folding seemingly discordant bigotries into each other, as when he defined the American way of life as marriage, home ownership, and child rearing, free of the, quote, lesbian, gay, transgender garbage in their school, adding that he did not want kids to have to hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. The American way of life was Christendom, Kirk claimed, and Islam, quote, the sword that the left is using to slit the throat of America, was antithetical to that. So, listen, he was a provocateur. That is what he did. He was
Correct.
a podcaster.
100%.
Correct.
What he said was controversial for a reason. And maybe it's because he wanted to have those debates. But I think some people feel right now like you can never talk about the debate
But why
about
can't
the
we
debater.
talk about that? Like, we can all
Yeah, of
say
course. Why
how
can't you do two things?
how he was murdered was disgusting.
Yes.
It was horrible. And when people start to say that, they really do mean that. I mean, when I say 2 or 3 things can't be true, I truly believe no one should have to ever look up and see how their parents are murdered. A wife should not have to see that. That should not be available. The fact that it was so frequently available and we can watch over and over is disgusting to me. But what's also unfair and what we don't talk about, we can't just say that was disgusting. We also have to talk about how he talked about black women. I feel personally offended. He attacked a good friend of mine, and Joy Reid, and he talked about Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. He didn't like her. He talked about other people who said he felt they didn't have proper brain processing power. That is offensive. And so some of us can feel a way, but still respect that was wrong, what happened to him. That is the problem.
Terry, before you come in,
It's actually worse than that, Cari. And thank you for bringing that up. And I said this before. What Charlie said there with that example was really disgusting. Charlie named 4 highly successful, prominent, obviously intelligent black women and said they didn't have the brain processing power. And I saw conservatives say, well, he wasn't talking about all black women, just those in particular. Like I said, conservatives must think we are as dumb as they are. We know what he was saying, but we can also deduce further, can't we? You effing morons. Because if he thinks that about those women, 4 highly successful, prominent, obviously intelligent black women, what do you think he thinks about the everyday black person or black woman? Like, stop playing these stupid games. You're going to tell me that he thinks highly of the everyday black woman he may come across? Go F yourselves, dumbasses.
Just because this happened tonight, Van Jones, our friend and colleague, he revealed that he learned that Charlie Kirk had actually DM'd him after last week, earlier in the week. I'll just be transparent. On this show, we were discussing Charlie Kirk, and he and Van Jones were going back and forth online, and Charlie Kirk had DM'd him asking to talk, asking him to come on the show, saying that they would be respectful. And Van writes, when our public dispute started going sideways, what was Kirk's response? He pushed for more conversation, not more silencing or censorship. He pushed for more civility, not more stridency or venom. Whatever you think of Kirk's legacy, that simple fact is commendable, and it's something that everyone should uphold and seek to replicate. The reason I think Van wrote this is because I saw it. There were people using Charlie Kirk's name to blame Van for his death, to attack other people. And he's pointing out that literally in the midst of their back and forth, Charlie Kirk was saying, come on my show, let's talk.
What do you mean they were using his name to blame Van? What do you mean by that? I don't get that.
People were saying that Charlie Kirk, you know, because Charlie Kirk had been assassinated, that the disputes that he was in verbally were the fault of the people that he was having conversations with.
We're in a
that
culture
doesn't make
war.
any sense.
We're in a culture war, and he was a warrior in this culture war. And while I admire Cardinal Dolan, Jesus was not about a culture war, right? He was, and so I don't quite see that. I mean, our
debatable whether Jesus was in a culture war.
Not the theology.
love your enemy, love your enemies, and pray for those who persecute you. But in this culture war, he engaged vehemently. He engaged with gusto in the culture war, and yet there was, to me, a willingness. It wasn't Marquess of Queensberry rules, but to engage with.
I agree.
That's the heart of who we are.
Right. I agree.
And I didn't agree.
Listen, he could have said, Van Jones, you're an evil person. I never want to speak to you
yeah.
again. He didn't say that.
I was on the show. I
But
was on
there
that
are
panel
other
with
people
you.
who were saying that in the wake of his assassination.
Listen, what I would like to know about the congressional thing was that the 60 Democrats who didn't vote, and I don't think we know the answer, did they go back and adjust it, like, and say, okay, can we take out this word? I'll be more comfortable voting for the resolution if you take out not all Americans, some Americans. Can we tweak it a little bit and get to a place where we all agree? But all 60 of them say no. It's so partisan.
Well, I know, Arthur,
It's-
that sounds like rational governance, which is not at all how Congress is operating.
Right.
I mean,
okay. I'm sorry for being rational.
I know.
Guilty.
I know.
I'm guilty for being
I'm actually
rational.
saying you're totally right that in a functioning democracy, that is exactly what should happen. But let's be honest. What's happening on
not
Capitol
animal.
Hill is dysfunctional.
Yes,
and this is a
correct.
byproduct of that
Correct.
dysfunction. Yeah, in a normal world, you have a back and forth. What can you say yes to? What can you agree? How can we make something, put something on paper that we can all agree on? That's not how this went down. And that's a symptom of
That's
the problem.
sad. It's
But
so
I don't think that ever went down. Look, I wasn't alive. I'll lean on to the senior elders of the people who may know I'm being sarcastic. But talk to me about how we all remember Martin Luther King Jr. Like, everyone didn't agree when he...
No, but Clinton and Newt Gingrich got along. They figured things out. They
but my
worked
point
together.
is time will always tell the story.
Yeah, and I think
we don't
she's
have
right.
that right now.
Martin
Time
Luther
will
King
always tell the
Jr.
story.
Memorializing him was extremely controversial for many
Correct.
decades in this country. We can't forget about that.
Correct.
All right, coming up next.
Why wouldn't we be memorializing the school shooting that happened that same day? The children, the thousands of children that have died the same way with these kinds of weapons that no human should have. How he made that shot, for one, I don't get it. How he got the skills and training to make that shot, that's, again, this right-wing culture garbage where a kid of that age can even learn that skill. Guys, don't you think that skill to be able to hit that shot should be made, I don't know, by someone who's in the military and that's it? Like, this is so insane to me to memorialize this idiot. If you want to be remembered in a kind and respectful way, it's really not that hard, guys. To have that wish granted is very easy. Treat others the same. If you spread bigotry, don't be surprised when you pass away that people don't care about you and think that you were trash because you were, and have little to no empathy for you and for what you said, and they hate you spread it. They're not going to care that sometimes you said nice things. And have little empathy for you. The 100%, the things that he said has negatively affected those different groups of people he's targeted, purposely targeted. Be effing kind. What is wrong with you? You don't have to agree or understand different people just to be kind, respectful, empathetic. I mean, you learn this stuff as a little kid. But this is very important. Don't expect kindness and respect when you haven't given it. I think I'm very respectful and kind, guys. But if you cross the line, you will see someone else, obviously. Like, guys, let me know in the comments. Is this so hard to understand? And they all do this. They're all still doing it. Laura Loomer, Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Ben Shapiro. They're all constantly spewing bigotry and hate and trying to one-up each other on their vileness. And don't you ever, ever forget why they do this. It's because it's what their Republicans and conservatives followers like. Why else would they do it? They know the majority of conservatives or Republicans are simply bigots. Yes, majority. It's not that hard to understand why they use it as a marketing tool and constantly peddle this stuff. They won't stop. They won't stop. That's why they're going crazy about this whole. Even them are fighting back about the Jimmy Kimmel cancellation. It's very obvious why. That's what they do, is spread hate speech. They want to be allowed to do that. This is how they make their money, how they exist. I will always remember Charlie Kirk for the horrible, really just sick, vile person he was. Memorialize him all you want. We all know the truth about the actual piece of trash. What did they used to say? Oh, the liberal tears, right? Something like that. Liberal tears, leftist tears, or something like that. Looks like the tables have turned. MAGA tears are flooding the streets. Keep crying. I'm swimming in those tears. Punk asses. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Please leave a like, subscribe. It really helps the channel, really helps push the message out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.